This is the first gaming laptop I've had with Nvidia RTX 2070 Super graphics, but just how well does it perform in games? I've tested the Infinity W5 in 20 games at all setting levels to find out, and this is the same Tongfang chassis as the Electronics Mech 15 G3 and XMG Neo 15. These are the specs we're dealing with in my model, so some pretty good stuff for a gaming laptop. However, there are other specs available. You can find examples as well as updated pricing linked in the description. The Gaming Center software lets you select between different performance modes, and I've used the highest turbo mode, though I didn't find this to apply any overclocking or undervolting by default. It's also possible to disable Optimus and only use the Nvidia discrete graphics through the BIOS, which will boost gaming performance. So I've used this too. We'll only be covering gaming performance in this video, so if you're new, then get subscribed for the full review which will cover thermals and more. Let's start out by going through all games at all setting levels, then afterwards we'll see how a laptop with these specs compares against some other laptops. Red Dead Redemption 2 was tested using the game's built-in benchmark tool, and this test is tough on pretty much any laptop regardless of specs at max settings. However, this is one of the better results I've seen so far from any gaming laptop. Battlefield 5 was tested in campaign mode, and the result at ultra settings is again one of the best I've ever seen out of all gaming laptops I've tested, but we'll compare some other laptops in this game soon. Control was tested with and without RTX enabled. I've got the results with RTX off in purple, RTX on in the green bars, which is much worse, then RTX on with DLSS enabled as shown by the red bars, which was still playing quite well and looking nice. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was tested with the built-in benchmark, and again, even maxed out, the frame rate was one of the best results I've seen. But again, we'll see how other laptops compare in this title shortly. Apex Legends was tested with either all settings at maximum or all settings at the lowest possible values, as it doesn't have predefined setting presets. Absolutely no problems running it maxed out, and at minimum settings, the frame rate is a great result for the 240Hz screen. Call of Duty Modern Warfare was tested in campaign mode, and I've also tested it with the settings either maxed out or at minimum. Again, no problems playing at max settings, while minimum offered 1% low performance that was above the average at max. Borderlands 3 was tested using the game's built-in benchmark, and hitting above 60 FPS with the highest setting preset in this test is a great result for a laptop, though we could more than double this at very low. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was also tested with the benchmark tool, and again, despite max settings being fairly resource intensive, especially for most gaming laptops, surpassing 70 FPS wasn't an issue. Fortnite was tested with the replay feature, and the results were very good here. Medium settings were giving 1% low performance, not too far behind the screen's refresh rate, and it of course played fine at max. Overwatch is another less demanding game and was tested in the practice range. Once more, absolutely zero issues running a less demanding game like this maxed out at epic settings. CSGO was tested using the Uletical FPS benchmark, and the frame rates are very high here due to Optimus being disabled. Generally, games with very high frame rates like this see the biggest improvement by disabling the iGPU. Dota 2 was tested playing in the middle lane, and despite what I just said, this game seems to have some sort of engine limitation really preventing us going much better than this on any laptop, so you can easily get similar results on lower end hardware. Rainbow Six Siege was tested with the built-in benchmark using Vulkan. Now they just changed this benchmark for the first time in years to apparently better reflect the current state of gameplay, so these results can't be compared with any of my previous numbers. Metro Exodus was tested using the built-in benchmark. Most parts of the game perform a fair bit better than this, so don't take these results as a good indication of what to expect throughout the entire game. It's more of a worst case. The Division 2 was also tested with the built-in benchmark, and like pretty much all other titles covered so far, above average frame rates were seen when compared against most other laptops I've tested, most likely due to the 2070 Super Max-P graphics. Monster Hunter World was tested running through the main town. Like other machines I've tested this game on so far, the 1% lows aren't too far behind the averages, which is always good to see. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was tested with the built-in benchmark, and given the lowest spec G5 SE laptop I recently tested couldn't hit 60 FPS at low settings, seeing this at maximum really goes to show the difference this higher tier hardware can offer. Far Cry New Dawn was also tested with the game's benchmark, and as a CPU sensitive test, the 8-core i7 is likely helping out here. It performs similarly in that sense to the older Far Cry 5, and we'll compare some laptops in that very soon. The Witcher 3 was playing well even at the highest ultra setting preset, and while I don't think it needs a very high frame rate, there was a nice jump simply by stepping down to high settings while still looking nice. F1 2019 was tested using the game's benchmark tool. Again, the frame rate maxed out was still good, but there were nice gains to be had simply by going down one level. Let's also take a look at how this hardware compares with other laptops. Use these results as a rough guide only, as they were tested at different times with different drivers. In Battlefield 5, I've got this machine highlighted in red. It's giving me one of the best results compared to other high-end laptops. Only the far thicker and much more expensive desktop replacements, like the MSI GT76 with much higher wattage GPUs, are able to beat it. The 1% low performance was also very good, likely as a result of the 8-core processor, which was also performing well. These are the results from Far Cry 5 with ultra settings in the built-in benchmark. The W5 is still up there, though the Triton 500 with 2080 Max-Q was a little ahead in this one. Regardless, still one of the best results out of all gaming laptops I've tested so far. These are the results from Shadow of the Tomb Raider with the built-in benchmark at highest settings. Again, the results are very high. The GS66 was 1 FPS ahead this time, though this and the Triton 500 all allow you to disable Optimus, which is why I think we're seeing this higher tier of performance compared to others. Overall, the gaming performance from the Infinity W5 was extremely impressive. The RTX 2070 Super offers great performance, especially when paired with the option of disabling Optimus. Overclocking and undervolting would likely help further, but I'll investigate further tuning in the full review. Here are the screen response time results for the 1080p 240Hz screen in my unit. The results were on the better side compared to others I've tested so far. You can check the link in the description if you need an explanation on what all of these numbers mean, but basically, average gray-to-gray response time is around 5 milliseconds. Let me know what you thought of the gaming performance from the Infinity W5 gaming laptop down in the comments. And if you're new here, then definitely get subscribed for the full review to see everything about this machine. So far, it's quite impressive.